Hello everybody, this is Ryan over at High Carb Generator. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about getting out of your comfort zone. Today the title of the video is actually going to be, does going plant-based mean you got to be on supplements the rest of your life? Or something along the... No one's going to click on that video. Today the title of this video is basically, does going plant-based cause you to deteriorate? You know, do you need to supplement a bunch of stuff? Do you need to do, what do you need to do to do this plant-based, go vegan, whatever you want to call it? If you go raw vegan, is your arm going to fall off? Or, if you eat nothing but potatoes, is it going to be it? You're going to go 6 feet under. And I just wanted to ask, because I get a lot of these extreme questions in the DMs on my Instagram. If you don't follow my Instagram, the link's down below. Go do it. Get it done. So my answer to the question will come later because I want you to watch the whole video, of course. So let's get started with the raw vegan. I went raw vegan when I was not. I can only answer for me and other people that I know, right? I don't know anybody who is deteriorating from this diet. I do know that people have died from doing only fruit because they refuse to add any kind of greens or any kind of even what's also considered fruit, such as like some vegetables like squash or cucumber or zucchini or peppers or tomatoes or anything like that. They just try to live on bananas, and you just can't do that. You can live only on potatoes, but you can't do that with bananas. It's just, there's not, everything that you need is not in bananas, but it is in potatoes. So if you're looking to just keep it as simple as humanly possible and you don't want to have to think about your dinner, you can literally, there's people who've done it, live off of potatoes. But you cannot do that with like white rice. You cannot do that with bananas. You can't do that with a lot of stuff. But potatoes and maybe sweet potatoes, you can do it. So there's that. I think most of the people who do this do add in sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are not my thing. I don't understand why people like them, but if you do, then go for it, right? So a lot of people come into this and they're like, well, I've heard that I need to supplement like crazy, right? You're going to have to take every supplement on the planet. The second you go vegan, all of your vitamins are going to just disappear. It's like you never ate them in the first place. They're going to be gone. And it just isn't the case. Or people say that, your teeth are all going to fall out. They're just going to evaporate one day because all that sugar is just going to rot your teeth. You hear all this kind of stuff and it's like, I don't know where it's all coming from other than the fact that it's not keto, and the keto is just being pushed hard. Now, if you know anything about media, when they're pushing something real hard, you probably should take a look at it and see if it's really worth doing, right? So you get this kind of push, it drives me nuts. So there's extreme situations that people think that you're going to be under, and it's just simply not the case. Or they say that you got to eat at least a little meat, just have a little meat and you'll be fine. Meanwhile, what comes, when you ask these people what comes from meat that you can't get from vegetables or fruits, because these meats that you're eating were actually fed what we eat to fatten them up. Now, it's not saying that you're going to get fat, but these animals are force fed, right? Past beyond. I mean, it's just ridiculous if you see some of the situations that these animals are put in. Or in Australia, they're force fed, they're grass fed or whatever, because they're not allowed to. I forget the exact rules out there. So you get these extremes coming at you that your teeth are going to fall out, your bones are going to break, Meanwhile, these people are drinking milk, and milk is actually one of the worst things on the planet for your bones. It leaches your calcium because it's so acidic. It's so bad for you that you actually leach your own calcium to make up for, to buffer basically the acid that's coming off the milk. But people drink this stuff. Like I said, I think it was my last video, the month that I dropped dairy, I dropped 50 pounds in 1 month because this stuff is so bad for you. It's so bad for you. But people just, what it is, I think largely is people like their comfort zone. They're like, I'm comfortable here. Everything's here. My friends are here. My house is here. My job is here. Everything's comfort. You know, there is no guarantees on this planet. Your business can go out. Your job can go out. Your house can be burned down. There is no guarantees. So the only thing that I like to tell people is to get out of your comfort zone. Have no comfort zone. The only comfort that you should have is that you don't have a comfort zone. It's kind of like if you took a pair of shorts, right? These pair of shorts they're perfect for you. They're your running shorts. They're your favorite thing. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, you stretch them and they pop back and you wear them. And then one day you're just like, oh, I wonder for whatever reason, you're like, I wonder if I could stretch these shorts, to break the elastic for whatever reason, right? And you do. You manage to break the elastic and they don't fit you anymore. They're no longer your running shorts. They're not any better or worse than they were. They're just not your running shorts. They're perfect for maybe washing your car or doing something like that. But you stretched it beyond its limit. And you have to mentally stretch yourself beyond your limit for some of this, like going plant-based or vegan or whatever, because you had to do that anyways to get to where you're at right now. Most people don't come at this for animal rights or anything like that. They come at it because they're overweight or they have health issues and they need to cure themselves. And so you already had to bring yourself past whatever comfort zone you were in with that dis-ease that you had. And you had to adopt a different modality. So why add in the old modality to anything that you're doing if you're trying to get out of your comfort zone, if you're trying to expand the thoughts that you have about something? Now, I know I'm coming at this at a different angle than most people are going to. And science really is not my thing. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, whatever. Go on. Have fun with it. I'm not the science guy, right? Science changes so much. I mean, if you look at science back in the day, it says cigarettes were healthy or DDT is healthy or whatever else was healthy. I'm a Gen X person, like we didn't need science. Somebody said, well, this works, and it worked for them. And we're like, oh, okay, we'll just go do that. And it worked perfectly. We didn't need to read 15 hours of studies and get confused over here. And I think that's what's going on right now. People get so confused. So confused. They think they need meat. They think they need this. They think they need supplements. They think they need this. And meanwhile, the reason these industries, the vegan, vegetarian world, the ecosystem is maybe 2% of the entire planet. It depends on what country you go to. But in America, I think it's like 2 or 3 or 4. It's less than 10%, right? But these industries still exist. The supplement industries, the dentist, the everything else that you think that you need still exists. And there's no way that less than 10% of the population is supporting that entire industry. So obviously everybody needs that industry for some reason. Otherwise it wouldn't exist. People think that this holy grail of a diet that they were on, but they looked for vegan, but they were on the most perfect diet on the planet. Their diet was perfect. They were finished. They couldn't do any wrong with the diet that they were on. But somehow they were looking for a different diet or lifestyle. So if their diet was so perfect beforehand, why would they think that they need to bring part of it with you? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me, but maybe it makes sense to these people. I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to cling to something that they used to have, or they're trying to replace the flavor. Most people don't like the taste of meat. They actually like the flavor of the meat. So maybe they bring that flavor over and leave the meat behind. Or they'll read, like the China study where the Chinese people used to have something like 3 ounces of meat a week. And they think, well, they did it. I need to do it. But if you really look at, it's kind of like if you went to a building site and you see all these raw materials all over the place, right? And they build the building. And this is kind of like what we do when we have plants. You eat the original materials and you build your building. Whereas when you eat something that was already a building, like a cow or a chicken or whatever, a fish, you actually have to break that building down first, put the raw materials to the other side and then build your own building. It doesn't make any, you're getting secondhand materials. Wouldn't you rather just build a building from raw materials instead of having to go get the raw materials from another building and then build the building that you're in? It doesn't make any sense to do it that way, but people want to do it that way. And a lot of disease comes from that because there's a lot of toxic things that happen in the body that are caused from this. There's a lot of byproduct that's caused from this. So when you eat meat, it actually is toxic to your body. So you actually have to leach calcium, magnesium, and all other things from your bones to neutralize this, to then build the building. Now, a lot of carnivores or keto people are going to come on here and say, well, I eat nothing but meat and I'm fine. Meanwhile, their eyes are like this, they can't sleep anymore. They're losing their hair. They're crazy. They smell like ammonia, but their diet is perfect. It's perfect. Or the carnivore people come on here and they're like, well, I had 32 pounds of meat last week and I'm fine. And 10 years down the road, this carnivore's kidneys or liver doesn't work anymore. And they're like, well, it can't be that. It's the pollution. It's not my diet, it's the pollution. So to answer the questions that I get a lot, I know I've gone on a kind of a rant. To answer the questions is, if you eat high carb, low fat, the only thing that you really should have to supplement is B12. If you even have to do that, get blood tested first to make sure that you even need it. There might be some other deficiencies. I don't know. I don't see the blood tests. And a lot of people diagnose themselves and have no blood tests whatsoever. They have no idea what might possibly be going on, but they read something and they're like, well, I must have that. The thing here says that I have this, and meanwhile, the thing is trying to sell you something. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I think people have been trained, and it's what was it? Mark Twain that said it's easier to fool somebody than to tell them that they've been fooled. And the media is very good at fooling people into thinking that you need this and this and this and this. And they're not really marketing the vegans. They're just marketing whatever it is that they have to try to keep you from going vegan, or to try to keep you from doing this, because it doesn't make you any healthier. They need you going into this system. Otherwise, you're no good to them. And, it is what it is. I mean, you can't get mad at it. They're very good at what they do. And you bought in, obviously, because you're asking people about it. So you clearly bought into their system. But you have to change your comfort zone and get out of that system. Otherwise, you're always going to be in that system. And if you're always in that system, you're always going to get the same result. So if you want to change your outlook or your whatever on life, you're going to have to change, and you're going to have to leave things behind. And that is my answer to the question. My answer to the question is the only thing. And vitamin D, I don't agree with McDougall on this vitamin D thing. Anybody who lives, most of the population lives somewhere that is not going to get enough sunlight for some part of the year. Like if you're in the northern hemisphere, I don't know what it is in the southern hemisphere, but in the northern hemisphere, basically yesterday, November 1st through, I think, April 1st, we don't get enough vitamin D from the sun to really get us to what we need to have. So you might have to supplement. But again, go get it tested first, because you might be at, I forget what the breakdown is, but I know you're supposed to be like 30 to 80, but I forget what the like nanograms per deciliter or something. You might be at 100. You really don't need to supplement it. But as the winter goes on, you might, so. But then some people do have low iron. Some people have, but they had it going into it. Some people have, different diseases or deficiencies, and they had it going into vegan, but they want to blame vegan, and it's just not the case. You just had that. You got to figure out why it's happening. And if you've got a lot of disease, I personally think that you should go on raw, vegan, high carb, low fat, but raw, no cooked whatsoever. I think you will heal as fast as your body can heal. I'm not making any claims. I don't like to, like I love people watching these videos, but I don't like to take credit for anything good that happens in your life, because anything bad happens in your life, I got to take the blame for it. So I just give you the information. I don't know if I've given you any information in this video. It has been ranty, but it's just one thing that you really have to ask yourself is, are you able to change? Because if you're not, you're constantly going to be reading this and reading that and reading this, and you're never going to get anywhere. Even, I don't care what diet or lifestyle or whatever it is that you're on, if you're constantly changing it based on every article you read, you are going to end up nowhere. And so I say you either choose what you want and just run with it, or just stay nowhere and be happy with it. That's up to you. Either way, don't judge it. You chose it. It's yours. So you can either give it to somebody else, get rid of it, or you can just live with it. And that is, I don't know if I've answered the question. I'll probably know when I rewatch this, when I'm editing it. But my answer, my 100% answer is, do you need all the supplements? Do you need all this stuff to be vegan? My answer to that is no, you don't. But you might have to eat more of something to get where you want to be. Like if your iron is low, for me anyway, potatoes raise my iron like crazy. Spinach I know raises iron. I don't like kale. I don't think kale is for human consumption. But if you want to go down that path, I mean, kale is, I think, high in iron. You just got to find what is high in iron, and don't cook it. Eat it raw, unless it's potatoes. But if it's greens, I wouldn't cook it. So find whatever greens that you can eat. A lot of these minerals are in a lot of the greens. So find it as fresh as you can, as local as you can. Don't cook it. A lot of this stuff gets destroyed after 118 degrees. And see if you can't raise it that way. If you can't, then you might have to supplement it. But don't just go into something supplementing everything, because you can really screw yourself up. Like McDougall doesn't believe in supplementing anything, and he is a doctor, so he might know what he's talking about more than I do. I don't agree with him with the vitamin D. I've had mine go to like so low, it's not even funny. I think the lowest level that I saw was 6, and that's like dangerously low. So I did have to supplement. But vitamin B12, I actually haven't had to supplement because I don't wash my potatoes and stuff like that, or carrots or whatever. I just kind of, just a little bit of extra grit, I mean, I figure this is how we ate it back in the day. It didn't kill us. We got here, right? We repopulated. So my B12 is usually around 500 or a little over. So I don't supplement it. And my hemoglobin, I'm not going to get into that. So that's the answer to the question. Hopefully it did you some good. I think people just, especially these days, there's just so much information out there. It's just coming at you so quick, and people just don't know how to read it all and understand it all. So you get stuck in a loop. Like if you accidentally have your iTunes on it, it's just the one song stuck in a loop, and you're like, oh my, and then you realize as you've been listening to the same song for like 8 hours, and you're like, oh, this is the loop that you get stuck in when you read too many articles or watch too many videos or whatever it is. So that's it. Comments, questions, whatever, down below. Like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next video.